Hi, I'm Myers Barnes. I'm a new home sales strategist, and I want to tell you an aviational story. You've probably heard the story of the Wright brothers. Both were bicycle mechanics who were unknown and lacking a formal education. Although they weren't leaders in aviation, they still managed to pioneer man's first flight on December the 17th, 1903. But do you know the story of Samuel Langley? Langley was a professor of mathematics, astronomy, and a director of the Smithsonian Institution. Langley was also a scientist and inventor who in the 1890s performed experiments with unmanned airplane models. And because he was at the forefront of aviation, the U.S. War Department gave him $50,000, an astronomical amount of money for that time, and commissioned him to design and build the first airplane. And by 1901, Langley had successfully tested and created history's first unmanned aircraft. And then he spent the next 2 years creating the first manned aircraft. And on October the 8th, 1903, on a modified houseboat in front of journalists and spectators, Langley, with the aid of his pilot, Charles Manley, attempted to fly his plane, the Great Aerodome. When the launch was attempted, however, the biplane was flung into 16 feet of water, only 50 feet from the boat, and his attempt at flight was a complete failure. Well, you know what happens with failure. Criticism from the skeptics and the cynics was brutal, and the New York Times and all the media outlets of that age called Langley's attempt a ridiculous fiasco. But Langley remained undaunted, and 8 weeks later in early December, he and his pilot again prepared to make history with their second flight. Yet once again disaster struck, and this time the pilot nearly died. As before, the cynics, the skeptics, and the media fiercely attacked Langley's folly, they called it, and accused him of wasting the government's funds. The criticism and rejection was so great that Langley actually fell prey to his critics, and he quit. He abandoned his project. He abandoned the pursuit of flight and walked away from a decade-long pursuit. And then, just a few days later after Langley quit, Orville and Wilbur Wright, uneducated, unknown, unfunded, flew their aircraft from the sand dunes of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. So let me offer you my perspective of Langley and the Wright brothers, because what happened to them is what occurs in the lives of many people today, and includes in your life. Too many people allow failure and setbacks to get the best of them, while a few accept life challenges as lessons and allow their setbacks to propel them toward the achievement of their goals. In retrospect, it would seem that Samuel Langley had an almost unfair advantage over the Wright brothers. He had money, education, and reputation. Yet I'll suggest to you it was the Wright brothers who had the unfair advantage over Langley. You see, Samuel Langley had more than his share of cynics and skeptics surrounding his project. As painful as the failure can be, it was even more magnified when the others added their ridicule to his failures. On the other hand, the Wright brothers, they were complete unknowns. They had no cynics or skeptics to criticize their work. The advantage the Wright brothers had over Langley was that when they experienced setbacks, their thoughts were not on personalized failure, but on focusing on the lessons of their failures. To the Wright brothers, failure was their feedback. Therefore, the first and most important step in overcoming failure, setbacks, obstacles, and challenge is to understand that failure is an event. It's not a person. It's something that happens to you, but it's not you. To put it simply, failing to achieve doesn't make you a failure. And if you really want to accomplish your dreams, you must get into this marketplace. You must take calculated risks, and you must be willing to face failure. Soccer player Kyle Rote Jr. noted, there are many ways to win, but only one way to lose, and that is to fail and then not look beyond the failure. Hey, I'm Myers Barnes. I believe in you. Now, you believe in yourself as much as I believe in you, and understand it's okay to be failing forward.